Good morning. Well, we're out with the Alice pack, and why have I got a love-hate relationship with it? Well, first off, I've always been interested in one. I have interest in most military surplus stuff. It's always been on the radar, but never got round to buying one myself. Then I got given this from a friend of mine, Marky. He couldn't get on with it. I thought, right, give it a try. Straight away, two things became apparent. One, I like the actual bag design because it's like one big bucket inside, which I prefer to multiple little pockets. You can cram a lot in. And the outside pockets are quite useful for water bottles and the such like. All good. Where it's not so good was the carrying system. And at that point, I'll insert a clip from an old video. You'll see why. So, this morning, the frame come out. Not too much of a hassle. You've still got the attachment points for the straps at the top there. The belt was a bit of a compromise to get back on. I've ended up with like a double catch in the corner here, but it seems to be working. The belt's not tight, it floats, but it does the job. Complete world of difference to carry. Really was. I was absolutely stunned. What I will say is most bags with an external frame, it makes them more comfortable, especially with heavy weight. And as much as the frame made the bag rigid, the top part of it was absolutely fine, didn't really feel it on my shoulders. The corners at the bottom here absolutely killed my back when there's a lot of weight in it. I don't get the idea, I don't get the design. Why come out at 90 degrees? Just flare them slightly would have helped. It's almost like they designed the pack for an 8-year-old whose back could fit between them. It was a bit ridiculous in my mind. There's probably better padded belts you can get, that sort of thing, but I didn't want to go that far. And I will say also at this point, this isn't a normal, should we say, Alice pack. Obviously Alice packs was the US military proper ones. This, as far as I can tell, is an Alice pack copy by someone. All intents and purposes, as far as I can see, it's more or less the same. Maybe some of the buckles and fittings are maybe slightly different. I think this is a copy of the medium. Looking at the size of it, it's about a 50-litre bag, thereabouts, guessing. But since the frame's gone, several things I've noticed. Obviously, the pack is now sitting against my back as opposed to out. Personally, I find this more comfortable. There isn't quite the same lateral movement as you're walking. As long as you haven't got hard, sharp stuff in there, this actually contours to your back. I can't really fault it at the moment. Now, the video clip that I inserted of when I was camping the other weekend, I've got exactly the same kit in here today. The only thing that's missing was my bivy bag that I had rolled on the top. So it's exactly the same. I've got full water bottles, everything. The weight is the same. I did stick it on the scales. It's around the 15 kilo mark. So for our American friends out there, it's probably just over 30 pounds, that sort of weight. I thought it's the only way I can test it properly is have exactly the same load. I would walk twice as far with it, 3 times as far with it. It's that much more comfortable. Obviously, if I put even more weight in it, I would start to notice not having a frame support because it hasn't quite got the rigidity that it should have. But up to them sort of weights, I think this is the way to go. Right, some of the features that I've found so far that I like about it. The lid with its little Velcro pocket here, not a big opening, but it does give you access to, you know, the whole lid. I think it was originally designed as a map pocket, or maybe waterproof, something like that. I find it perfect for my flat items, like if I'm using ration pack meals, that sort of thing. Keep a pack of wet wipes in there for cleaning up your utensils and cleaning up yourself if necessary. All the flat stuff can go in there nicely, doesn't take up any extra space. At the top here, the magazine pouches. Well, what I've found so far for the kit that I've used, perfect size for head torch, coffee sachets, and in this one is my flex tail pump for blowing up the airbed, and also, you know, doubles as a lantern. They fit really snug in there, so they're very useful. These bigger pouches, middle one, I've got all sorts of miscellaneous stuff in here. I've got a stove, I've got my first aid kit. I'm not going to drag it all out, but you know, you get the idea. It's a decent size pocket. And the other ones, I have the old British, it's 58 pattern water bottles. They fit in there lovely as well. No movement, no slopping about. It's like they're made for it. It's a very practical pack, I think. Like I say, having just the one big bucket, and you undo the drawstring, opens up to a decent size. Tripod bag, jackets, you know, everything that I had with me the other weekend. There is a pouch at the back, which I think was like a radio pouch or something like that. That's just closed up, so it's out of the way. The one thing that is a shame, this pouch at the back. If only, like one of my German packs, if only that pouch went all the way to the bottom, because that one goes about halfway down. In the German pack, that back pouch goes to the bottom. Big German folding sleep mat. You fold it up, stick it in the back. It's got like an internal frame, makes the pack much more rigid. Can't do it with this, which is a bit of a shame. But you know, if I'm not going heavy amount of weight, it's not going to matter. I also, this is another one of those love-hates, I suppose. The length of these straps, they are massive. And if you're not using the strapping for anything other than holding the lid down, you do end up with an awful lot of slack, and you end up, you know, threading them through and whatever just to use them. I hate straps flapping, but they are great because they're long. You can put stuff under here, like I had my bedroll in there the other weekend. I stick my tripod for filming in this section. Also, it gets held by the straps and it's sitting on top of the pockets, so it can't fall out. The long straps are useful for doing stuff, but they are long. Well, that's my thoughts so far on the Alice pack. Only had it a couple of weeks. Sometimes it just takes a while to get used to these new things, but certainly as far as getting stuff in it, it's been good. I'm so glad I took that frame off, because I thought it was going to be a bit of a non-starter, to be honest, unless I was travelling extremely light. But I suppose that's an average weight that's in it now for sort of springtime, maybe autumn time, and it travels absolutely fine without that frame in place. I think midwinter, when I'm travelling heavy, I would still use my big German pack. That carries weight so well. But for this time of year, certainly going into the summer, when obviously I'll be travelling lighter, it's going to be good. I like it. Like I say, it's strange because it's not something that I've gone out and bought. I was given it. Always been fascinated by them, never used one. When Marky gave me this, you know, the opportunity was there to try it out. And I'm glad I have. Yeah, look forward to many more trips with this kiddie, as long as I'm not carrying too much.